Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Nigeria and Morocco commence talks aimed at strengthening bilateral relations as the King of Morocco arrives in Abuja on a working visit. Federal High Court orders Department of State Services to release leader of Islamic movement in Nigeria, Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, within 45 days. Female radio journalist abducted from her home in Makurdi, Benue State. Police launch manhunt to free victim. And Gambian President Yahya Jammeh loses election after 22 years rule over the West African country.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria plans a budget of over 7 trillion naira for next year to boost economic growth.
And on sports news tonight, Nigeria Super Falcons lock eyes or focus on the 9th African Women's Championship title as they face off with Cameroon tomorrow.
I'm Linda Kibe, and from Abuja, United Nations Office on Humanitarian Affairs says $1 billion is what it requires to address the humanitarian needs in the Northeast in 2017.
Well, there's now a new window of opportunity for strengthening bilateral relations between Nigeria and Morocco as the country's leaders came calling on a working visit to Nigeria. King Mohammed IV of Morocco, who was given a presidential reception at the presidential villa in Abuja, held talks with President Muhammadu Buhari bordering on issues of common interest to both nations. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Jeffrey Onyema, further gave insight into the issues that featured in the discussions. Our correspondent, Chukuma Onekosi, reports.
President Buhari is said to have been expecting this visit, which is designed to cement the relations between Nigeria and Morocco, and the preparations here show it. The King of Morocco, Mohammed VI's motorcade, makes a dignified entrance into the presidential villa. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has rolled out the drums and the red carpet to give him a warm reception. The visiting king takes time out to inspect the guards of honor mounted for him by the presidential guard. Both leaders get introduced to members of the cabinet lined up for handshake. They also took a break to visit the Central Mosque for Friday Jumat prayers. Both leaders will not talk to State House correspondents, but the Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister takes time out to talk to the press on what the visit is out to achieve.
As you know, Morocco is a major producer of phosphate, and so with the gas that we have in the country and urea, we're hoping to really go into the production of fertilizers in a big way. But there are other areas of cooperation in trade areas, trading agreements that are going to be signed in the agricultural sphere, the fisheries sphere, agreements that are going to be signed, diplomatic agreements such as recognition of visas for diplomats between the two countries, the air agreements, then also in the field of energy.
Political watchers say besides the economic aspect of the visit, Morocco seeks to prompt Nigeria to reconsider its stance on the Western Sahara. They also say the king's visit will give a fresh impetus on the effort to regain Morocco's seat in the African Union following their withdrawal from it in 1984. Chukuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
Justice Gabriel Kolawole of the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Department of State Services to release the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, within 45 days. In his judgment, the court ordered the federal government to provide an accommodation for El-Zakzaki and his wife and family members within Kaduna State or any part of the northern region. The court also declared the continuous detention of El-Zakzaki since December 14th, 2015 as illegal, since the issue of protective custody is unknown to law or the National Security Agencies Act establishing the DSS.
The dream of the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, Mr. Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, to return to his abode as a free man has been given legal backing as a federal high court in Abuja declares his detention illegal and unlawful. Mr. El-Zakzaky was arrested by the Nigerian army on the 14th of December 2015 after a violent clash between members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria and the Nigerian army over an alleged blockade of the convoy of the Chief of Army Staff in Zaria, Kaduna State. With his arrest and subsequent detention without criminal charges filed against him, Mr. El-Zakzaky approached the court to demand his release on the 5th of October 2016 on the basis of his unlawful detention. In a 2-hour judgment delivered by Justice Gabriel Kolawole, the court awarded 50 million naira general damages against the Department of State Service, who've been ordered to release Mr. El-Zakzaky and his wife to the Inspector General of Police within 45 days. The court also ordered the federal government to provide accommodation for Mr. El-Zakzaky and his family within Kaduna State or any city of his choice within the northern region of the country. Justice Kolawole further ordered the Inspector General of Police to escort Mr. El-Zakzaky to his new abode once he is released. The court added that the circumstances leading to the detention of Mr. El-Zakzaky under protective custody was self-inflicted, as the altercation between the Nigerian army and members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria triggered the arrest and detention of Mr. El-Zakzaky. Justice Kolawole therefore ordered the police to provide him and members of his family with 24-hour security until the alleged threat to his life is removed. Lawyer to Mr. El-Zakzaky reacts to the judgment of the court.
I think that the judge wants this whole tension to be de-escalated, and that was the reason why he made an order, one that the applicant must be released unconditionally within a period of 45 days. The judge was also aware, or is also aware, of the fact that his properties were destroyed in Zaria, that his abode has been destroyed. So he didn't want to make an order for his immediate release on grounds that the applicant will have nowhere to go.
The lawyer to the Department of State Service, however, says he'll need to study the certified true copy of the judgment.
The court just delivered the judgment, and as you all know, we cannot record in our heads everything the court said now. We can only pick some salient points. So we need to get the certified true copy of the judgment, study it thoroughly, then we know the next line of action. That is without prejudice to our right of appeal.
The legal battle by the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria to regain his freedom may just be starting, as the Department of State Services has the option of appealing the judgment of the court.
The police in Benue State are suspecting an insider job in the kidnap of a news editor with Radio Benue, Mrs. Jill Eyuado Tor Abidie. She was reportedly kidnapped from her residence in Makurdi by 5 unidentified gunmen in the early hours of today. Speaking to Channels Television, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Bashir Wakama, says that preliminary investigations indicate that someone with full knowledge of the family may have planned the kidnap. The victim's daughter, Ms. Kashimana Tor Abidie, who witnessed the kidnap from hiding, says that 4 gunmen broke into her mother's bedroom through the window and took her away in the family's silver ash-colored Suzuki Jeep.
The broken window from where the kidnappers gained entrance into the bedroom of Mrs. Jill Eyuado Tor Abidie, a news editor with a radio station in Benue State. It happened in the early hours of Friday morning while the victim's husband was out of town. The rest of the family still asleep.
She was sleeping in bed. They pulled her out, took her phone. We don't know of any other thing, but the room is scattered. And the study room too is scattered. But the children were sleeping peacefully. So we asked the boy at the gate, and he said people jumped inside the compound.
These are sympathizers sitting outside, wondering why this is happening to this family. The police commissioner, who is already investigating the story, arrives at the premises with his men. He promises to get to the bottom of it, even as he suspects an insider's role.
What I've seen here is mere internal arrangement, to siphon funds. All I know is that there is a proper arrangement to do this, and it didn't perpetrate itself, or it didn't start today. It must have started and just ended this morning. So investigation will reveal it. We'll go gradually but hastily also to see what could have happened here.
Right inside the building is this bedroom, said to be where Mrs. Tor Agbidie was sleeping before her abductors struck. Her room was completely turned upside down, indicating that her abductors may have been searching for either valuables or documents, and this is the puzzle that the police may have to unravel.
This is just a preliminary stage. We'll keep going until we get there, and I'm sure we'll get there also.
Kidnap cases in Benue State are not new, but what seems strange in this particular incident is the fact that these kidnappers visited the home of their victim and took her away right from her house, her bedroom, while the rest of the family were asleep.
The month of December affords companies the opportunity to wrap up their activities, but for the police, it's the period to raise the bar on crime fighting. In the South and Southeast, the police is making aggressive efforts in arresting the upsurge in criminal activities in the regions. In Abia, Imo and River States, the leadership of the police command have increased their crime watch, launching the Change Begins With Me campaign.
For the Abia Police Command, ridding the society of crime at this period is top priority, and this is seen in the increased anti-crime patrol and intelligence gathering. The Commissioner of Police, Adeleye Oyebade, makes a strong statement on crime prevention as he parades suspects arrested for different crimes.
I have given that marching order to all our departments to embark on aggressive anti-crime patrol, intelligence-led raid, monitoring of all the exits, entry routes and escape routes, with the sole objective of rooting out criminals and would-be criminals from the state.
In Imo State, the command is embarking not only on intelligence gathering and arrest of suspects, but is also using the Yuletide to launch the federal government's campaign of Change Begins With Me.
The Nigerian Police Force to embrace the campaign, the Imo State Police Command is launching the program Change Begins With Me today for members of the force. No one can force the assertion that there is a compelling need for a sweeping change of attitude within the Nigerian Police Force. This is more so as the perception of the institution that members of the public is unfortunately one that is not only corrupt but inefficient and brutal. Negative as such a perception may be, and as indicting of the force as it may also portend, the fact that is that it was not formed from nothing. It is indeed a byproduct of the way members of the public are treated by some policemen.
Meanwhile, the River State Police Command says it's setting up a public complaints rapid response unit to take care of public concerns on activities of the command. This, according to the leadership, is to enhance crime fighting in the state.
In line with the change agenda of the federal government, Nigeria, and the Change Begins With Me campaign, the Nigerian Police Force, under the leadership of IGP K. Idris, will ensure police accountability to Nigerian people by making sure that all citizens and residents of the country have a unit through which all grievances against police actions and inactions are taken up or addressed.
The police commands of Abia, Imo and Rivers may be using different methods to tackle crime, but their efforts are leading to the same result, which is having states that are crime-free for citizens to enjoy the Yuletide.
In part two, after the break, Federal Road Safety Commission sets to arm its roadside personnel, laments increasing number of casualties amongst its men. Please join us again.